Hello and welcome to the tutorial for creating mobile surveys for the iPad, iPhone, and iPod Touch. We're currently logged into a demonstration account, and I will go up above the yellow bar here to the Surveys tab and select Create New Survey from the sidebar. I'll go ahead and use today's date as a survey name, and select from the variety of survey destinations available from Opiniometer. We'll select the iPad, and you'll see here we've added iPad, iPod, and iPhone as additional survey types. Now we can create a new survey just by clicking Save and start building the survey instrument from scratch, or we can clone any existing survey we wish. I'll go ahead and grab a sample iPad survey here and click Save. Now what's happening now is this is preloading a survey that had previously been created instead of starting from scratch to build it. So we enter a four-step wizard, and here we are in step 1, Define Questions. And as you can see, I'll scroll down and show the various question types that were preloaded in that sample iPad survey that we cloned. So there's 8 questions to this survey, and you'll notice adjacent each question it tells you the question type. This particular one is a matrix ranking, whereas this is an open-ended multi-line question type. And to the right of each question type, we have a drop-down. We can add a question before or after this existing question. We can edit this existing question. Define logic is branching and skip pattern logic, or we can add multimedia. So I'm going to add a question after this one. So I'm going to click Go. So this will, in essence, be our second question because it's going to be placed after the first question. And this screen is the main screen you use to create your survey questions and build the survey instrument. So just to explain some of the areas here, at the top, we can select the question type we wish to use. So if I wanted just to use, well, a multiple choice horizontal. Now I have a variety of display formats. I can use button, drop down, slider. Let's go ahead and use a slider. And now you'll see the screen is adjusted somewhat. It gives us down below here left, center, and right labels to select that will appear above the slider. These are optional, but we recommend using them. We can also go ahead and use a pre-existing scale if we like. So I'm going to go ahead and use a 0 to 7, actually 8-point scale. And I'll type in my question here. How would you rate the service received today? Now I can go ahead and type as I did, or I can select from our question library. Or if I like this question and think I will reuse it, I can go ahead and add it to our library. And each account has its unique library, and each account comes by default with an existing library to get you started. But you can edit your own library as you go. So just to show you what the library looks like, I can go ahead and select any variety of categories, and within categories groups, and within groups questions. And if I select one of these, it will autofill into this field. So I've selected already a 0 to 7 scale, and below it I will go down and enter my labels. Left would be let's say very poor, and right, which would be the far extreme, excellent. And I can either leave the center blank, or if I want to go ahead and put a neutral or some other description, you can. I'm also going to require that the respondent answer to this question so that they can't skip the question. So I'm going to go ahead and click Save Question. And now you'll see we have, as question 2 now, how would you rate the service today? 0 to 7. And the red asterisk indicates it's a forced question. And I'm going to scroll down and show you at the bottom of each step in the preview or in the Create Survey wizard, you can either preview, save to continue through the wizard, or just finish later and you can pick up where you left off. So I'm going to click Save. And now I'm in step 2. This is where we can create our skin or theme and brand our survey as it appears on the device. Use our own corporate logo, corporate ID, colors, etc. So I can create a new skin, customize this skin, and I'll just show you the controls in this screen. There are quite a few controls where you can have a background color or image, select your own logo. Each of the circles are color pickers where you can create your colors for your buttons or background, select your fonts, font sizes, etc., etc. And there's the call-outs here that show you where on the screen these controls take effect. So I'm going to just go back. Rather than taking the time to build a new skin, I'll just use this pre-existing one that is already here. And there's introductory and thank you screens, which are HTML editors where, and these are optional, you can include a message at the beginning of your survey, like an introduction message describing what the survey is about, as well as a thank you screen. And we start you off with some basic text in here, but you can go ahead and customize it and use the HTML editor to further customize the look and feel. So I'm going to go ahead and proceed. I'm going to go to Next. And this will take us to step 3 in the wizard, Assign Device. Now here we have actually 3 different ways, as it says, how would you like to distribute your survey? You have 3 options. As a private survey distributed to those devices within your account running the Touchpoint mobile app, which is for business to business, or as a public survey that any consumer with our B2C app loaded on their iPhone or iPad or iPod Touch can participate in, or both. And here we have radio buttons. So if I select private, you'll see the screen adjusts accordingly. And if it's private, all I need to do is go to my address book and assign the survey to those devices that I have already registered to this account. Or if I go public, I can go ahead and assign this survey to any device, even outside of our account, that searches for our business name or survey ID, or just looks for surveys around wherever that consumer is at the present time using our GPS capabilities in the app. We can identify multiple locations if our store has multiple locations. We can upload our logo so the logo appears on the app, the consumer's app, where they can select the logo of the business. We can also password enable this survey if we wanted to. We can also, by default, a public survey only allows the consumer, the user, to answer it once. But if we did want to allow them to answer surveys more than once, perhaps it's a unique situation or you're using the application in a vertical approach like mystery shopping, etc., you could go ahead and check this checkbox and it will allow more than one completion. And another nice feature we have is you can also distribute your public surveys as email to email those customers within your address book, or as push notifications to arrive on the mobile phones of those users who've opted in to receiving invitations for surveys from your business. Now, if I select private and public, you'll see both sections now on the screen at the same time. Private surveys above, as well as public surveys below. So for the sake of simplicity, I'm just going to assign or distribute this survey we created as a private survey. So that means it's only going to go to those devices registered to my particular account. So I'm going to click on the address book. As it says here, use your address book to assign surveys to mobile devices. To begin, select the address book button below. So I'm going to click address book. And whatever addresses are in my address book belong to my particular account, I can select them all, or I can search for those by serial number or GPS coordinates or contact details of the people who have devices registered to my account. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab these two devices, and I'm going to assign them this survey to these devices. You can also see by clicking on the waypoints where these devices were when they were registered. It's interesting information. So here this waypoint gives us information as to where exactly this device was with its longitude, latitude when it was registered. Or the GPS history gives us the history of all surveys taken on this device and where they were when they were taken. So I've selected the checkboxes. Now all I need to do is click Add Selected Contacts. And it will autofill for me in my To box, which is where this survey. Now you notice it only included one because the two serial numbers I selected were the same contact. So that's just a check we have in the system. So I can either select a location, or if not, it will just use a default mobile location. I'm going to click Save, and you'll see the pop-up telling me just that. If you will not select any location, then the system will take default location as the mobile survey for this private distribution. So I'm going to click OK. And now we're in step 4, where we have a number of optional features. I won't spend much time here because we cover this in other tutorials, but we can set question timeout, which is the timeout for each question in the survey. Let's say you're taking a survey and you want it to time out after a certain period of time and start at the beginning and register it as incomplete. And this is really only used for the business-to-business application, whereas for business-to-consumer, we don't want their surveys to time out. They may get a phone call in the middle of the survey and want to resume that survey at a later time. So by default, if this were a B2C or distributed publicly, this would be by default no limit. But I'm going to leave this at 45 seconds. And click Save, and then Finish. And we have completed the 4-step wizard for creating a mobile survey distributed to our iOS devices, the Apple iPhone, iPod Touch, and iPad. And you'll see here at the top of our list now we have the survey name we created, the account we were in when we created it, and the date, the type, we selected iPad. And you'll notice the asterisk, it indicates it's a private mobile survey. And the red asterisk would indicate it was a public. Now, if we did both public and private, you would have a blue and a red asterisk adjacent the device type. Now, if I wanted to preview this survey, which I could have done during the survey creation wizard, I can just click on the icon, and it will go ahead and show me a WYSIWYG, what you see is what you get, representation of this particular survey on the intended destination device. So you'll see here we have an iPad showing me the first introductory screen that I selected. Now if I click Next, I can go ahead and step through the survey just like it would appear on the actual device. So this is quite helpful, especially before you distribute the survey, to preview how that survey will actually look on that intended device. So I'm going to go ahead and click Close. And this concludes the mobile survey tutorial for creating mobile surveys to the iPad, iPhone, and iPod Touch. And thank you very much for your time.